If the Eagles don't stomp the Giants tonight, we're in trouble. What is up, guys? DJ Eastwood here, Run It Back, home of the most brutally honest Philly sports takes on YouTube. Some people don't like it, but it's because some people don't like the truth. Hit the like button if you like the truth. Hit the dislike button if you like lying to yourself. And hit the subscribe button if you're new. I give you these podcast episodes every single day for free. I want my subscription. Let's get into this, man. Now, before I talk about the Eagles and Giants, I want to go over something really quick, and I could have made probably an hour-long video talking about this, but I was reading about it last night because I'm interested in it. I'm curious about it. Why does Carson Wentz no longer check plays? Why does Carson Wentz no longer call his own plays or kill plays and audible plays? Because if you remember back in 2016, he was the king. I mean, they were comparing him to Peyton Manning when he was a rookie. He checked everything. And the more I read about it, it all has to do with the system in place. You know how I feel about Doug Peterson's system without Frank Reich? But I just want to get into it a little bit because it all has to do with the system in place and what they were doing for him and what I believe ended up in him being 13-1 on the season before tearing his ACL in 2017. The system was perfect, but Carson Wentz was in full control of the offense. There's a couple articles I want to go over real quick. Screen record, bam. Two articles I was reading last night that tell me that reiterate what I think about this situation. So here's the article. We're going to skip to right here. This is the important part of this article. The touchdown to Smith was originally going to be a handoff to Kenyon Barner, but Wentz didn't like the look the defense was giving. So 21 games into his NFL career, the 24-year-old signal caller called an audible and threw a bomb instead. That is when Carson Wentz is at his strongest, when he's in full control of an offense. Now, why doesn't he do that anymore? Why can't he recognize a horrendous play call, look at the defensive line, look at the secondary, read it, and check into a different play? Because I guarantee you, if Carson Wentz was in full control right now, he would have audibled out of that horrendous two-point conversion call that Doug Peterson had dialed up when he ran out of plays. But he doesn't do it anymore. And I want to go a little bit into why I think he doesn't do it anymore. Here's the article. This is from back in 2017. It's to the point where Peterson sees a resemblance in the most legendary pre-snap quarterback in the history of the game. Doug Peterson, we give him a little bit of flexibility. However, it is things that we work on in practice. It has to be within the game plan that we've discussed and worked on. Keyword, game plan. Key person in charge of the game plan, Frank Reich. We do have a system where it's just a take-it system where I can just call the formation, get to the line quickly, bark out a cadence, kind of what Peyton Manning has done in his career type of thing. I think that's Carson Wentz talking there. Then when we have a run or a pass that Carson can get to, but everything is built into the game plan specifically in situations like that for him. It sounds so perfect, so intricate, so well thought out and well planned for Carson Wentz. In my opinion, that took him to an MVP level. That's why he was 13-1 in 2017. He was completely unstoppable because he got to the line, he read the defense, and he was able to make the call that he thought made the most sense, and he was right most of the time. Now, what are the odds? Frank Reich leaves. Doug Peterson's in charge. We get a very predictable offense every season, and you don't see Carson Wentz check in and calling audibles nearly as much. I'm just saying. Now, why did that change? There is there was rumors back then that Carson Wentz was arrogant, that Carson Wentz was hard-headed, was full of himself, and certain players didn't like it. And they also tried to change Wentz's game. They didn't want him outside the pocket running so much because they didn't want him to get hurt, which inevitably he did. But the arrogant thing is really what gets me. Because with when they compared him to Peyton Manning with changing audibles at the line of scrimmage, would anybody call Peyton Manning arrogant? Would any players say, I don't like playing with this guy, he's full of himself, he's arrogant? No, it's because he was a rookie and they didn't like how confident he was. Because people can't handle that, and veterans especially can't handle that from a rookie. But he had you at 13-1 by being that type of player. And I think all of those things coming out about him being arrogant, players don't want to play with him, he doesn't listen to coaches, yada, 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 affected him. So he took a step back. He said, all right, fine. All right, fine. I'm not going to be in charge. I'll do whatever you say. I'll do what you tell me to do. And what do we end up with? We end up with read options to Boston Scott up the middle against one of the best defensive lines in football. We end up with 2-point conversion attempts with a backup quarterback trick play. I think Carson Wentz's football mind is the best out of anyone in the organization. And they need to listen to him. And they need to let him be in control. Because clearly, Doug Peterson being 100% in control of the play calling is not working. I just wanted to start there. Now let's get into the Eagles-Giants. The Eagles need to stomp the Giants. Like I said in previous podcasts, the fight that they showed me against the Baltimore Ravens, the fight that they showed me against the Pittsburgh Steelers, aside from Nate Gary getting destroyed by Chase Claypool, and that's on Jim Shorts putting Nate Gary in that position because Nate Gary is terrible. Shouldn't even be on the field, let alone covering the web. Anyway, the fight that they showed me offensively against those teams and the fight that they showed me defensively against the Baltimore Ravens, specifically towards the end of the game, getting huge stops when they needed to keep them in the game, shows me that they can destroy this New York Giants team. And they have to. Because if they don't win convincingly in this game, it's not a win for me. As bad as the NFC least is, it's not even, you know? People that don't really pay close attention to a certain team, they think it's even. Oh, all four teams suck. Who knows who's going to win the division? The division's up in the air for anybody to win. Not true. Clearly, the most productive offense so far, especially in the last 2 weeks, is the Philadelphia Eagles. So the records don't totally show it, but it's not close at all. This should be a blowout. Let's go into a couple things that tell me this is going to be a blowout. First of all, Doug Peterson's 5-0 on Thursdays. I don't know what that means. I don't know why that matters. I don't care about that. That's one of those ESPN stats, you know what I mean? This guy's undefeated on Thursday nights in the middle of the third quarter when he's holding a baby in the morning. Get out of here with that. He's 5-0 on Thursdays. I don't care about that. Daniel Jones has 3 touchdowns in 6 games, 4 fumbles and 6 interceptions. Now, those numbers aren't that much worse than Carson Wentz's numbers. But the turnover rate, combined with the inability to move the ball, period, on this offense, tells me that the Eagles' defensive line should have breakfast, lunch, and dinner tonight. The Eagles' defensive line should eat this dude alive. And when they do, he's going to make huge mistakes, fumbles and interceptions, big turnovers. This game should not be close. Another funny stat that I realized yesterday is that Daniel Jones leads the Giants in rushing yards per game. There's my fake laugh for you, Frank Tank. Daniel Jones leads the Giants in rushing yards per game. I know they lost Saquon Barkley, but good Lord. Now, I can't talk that much mess because we're without Miles Sanders. And to be quite frank with you, Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts are probably going to have more rushing yards than Boston Scott because he stinks. Giants have the worst offense in the league at 11 points per game. This should not be close at all. Our defensive line pressure, which is what? Our defensive line is 4th in sacks. We are 4th in sacks in the NFL, and the Giants have the worst offense in the league at 11 points per game. The Giants also have the worst rated offensive line, according to PFF, in the entire NFL. They couldn't stop my 5-year-old from getting to the cookie jar. There's no reason our defensive line cannot completely annihilate this weak offensive line and make this inexperienced, turnover-happy quarterback make huge mistakes, the game shouldn't be close. Our offensive line stinks too. We already know that. Respectively, our offensive line, according to PFF, is ranked 27th, and the Giants is 32nd. So battle of the horrendous offensive lines? I guess so. So what's it going to look like for our offensive line versus the Giants' D-line? The Giants' defensive line is nothing to scoff at either. Giants' defensive line is 9th in sacks in the NFL. They get a lot of pressure. They get a lot of sacks. Top 10 in sacks is not bad for a team that's 1-5. We already know how bad our offensive line is. We cut Jerome Brown. He's back on the practice squad. I guess we're going to try somebody else, anybody in place of him. But this should be a game where defensive lines get through the offensive line, no problem whatsoever for both teams. Our D-line penetrating their offensive line, their D-line penetrating ours. The difference is quarterbacks. And Carson Wentz getting outside the pocket, escaping pressure, and making huge plays down the field. Doug Peterson, once again, I'm looking at you. Get him out of the pocket. Play action, bootlegs, screens, be creative, check downs, running backs in the flat. I don't care if it's Corey Clement and Boston Scott. Get it done. Daniel Jones can't do what Carson Wentz does. So we're both in the same situation with weak offensive lines against a strong defensive line. The difference is going to be the quarterback. And I'm looking for Carson Wentz to come out of it this week. Tonight. I say this week like it's happening on Sunday. Tonight, I'm looking for him to come out of it. Another thing. Get Travis Fulgham on the field. Stop treating him like he's just another wide receiver. Stop treating him like he's just part of a rotation. He's your number one guy. He catches every single thing that touches his hands. And he goes up and gets the ball. And Carson knew it. Carson decided at the end of that Baltimore Ravens game, the second half, F it, screw it. I'm just going to throw it in Fulgham's direction to make this play. Because these other dudes can't catch the ball and they can't get open. Greg Ward can catch the ball. He can't get the separation Fulgham gets. And deep down the field, he doesn't have the elevation. He can't get the ball at its highest point. All those kind of things that Fulgham can do. John Hightower can get open, but he drops the ball. Get Fulgham on the field. He's your number one receiver. Stop with the bullshit. Last thing I'm going to say. Put any linebacker on the field beside Nate Gerry. I don't want to see Nate Gerry anymore. If you cut the offensive lineman that quit playing and was fixing his glove on the middle of the field, you cut him. Why ain't you cut Nate Gerry anymore? He's absolutely atrocious. He gives you nothing. He actually gives you negative. You're probably better off playing any other linebacker you can find. That's what I don't understand. People saying Jim Schwartz is a great defensive coordinator. Then why does he keep playing one of the worst linebackers anyone's ever seen? Stop the bullshit. Get it done. This should be a blowout. And I want to see another Jason Kroom touchdown, just for fun. I never heard of the guy. Nobody's ever heard of the guy. He snuck into the corner of the end zone. Maybe we can pull that off one more time. My score prediction is 35-12. That's what should happen. That's what absolutely should happen. And Doug, I want you to be aggressive in this game. No more relying on Jake Elliott. Jake Elliott stinks. No field goals in this game. No extra points. Go for 2 every time. Go for 4 on 4th down every time. Now, don't run the stupid Jalen Hurts trick option play. Please don't run the read option to Boston Scott up the middle, because this is, again, not a horrible defensive line you're going against. Keep that in mind, Doug. But just get it done. This has to be a beatdown. If the Eagles, if this is a win by like a point or two, it's a loss to me. Because you want to prove and show that you are in charge of this division, that you are the best team in this horrible division. You got to show that. Because it's what you are. You are the best team in this division. If the Eagles would somehow lose this game, then it's over. It's totally over. Book it. Put it away. Put Jalen Hurts in the thing for the rest of the season. Sit Carson Wentz, because what's the point of getting him hit every game? for a season that's lost. If they lose this game, the season is lost. The season is done. Wrap it up. Play for a number 1 draft pick. 35-12. Give me your score predictions in the comments. Give me all your thoughts and opinions in the comments. My name is DJ Eastwood. This is Run It Back, home of the most brutally honest Philly sports takes on YouTube. Some people don't like it, but it's because some people don't like the truth. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. I'll give you these podcast episodes every single day. I want my subscription. Peace.